got me down a little bit at the school. But see, I had to be like in the third, fourth, maybe the fourth grade. Third or fourth grade when she was there.
That's not possible, Aaron. You had to get higher than that because I was in my.
Hey, I was so smart one time. They
oh, you were smart.
Oh yeah. Man, that was them put me on a higher grade. Yeah. Sure
That's
did.
my first time ever.
I was smart in elementary school. I could do that work, but the other work I couldn't do.
Okay, thank y'all for coming. We are here today with 4 of Ophelia Turner's and Mathew Bowman's children. Will you introduce yourself and tell us the year you attended the school, if you remember? So, oldest would be Uncle Spencer, right? No, Uncle Aaron is the oldest. And what year were you born? I know, because well, I don't know why. 1946 is yours. You started school in 46.
In the pre-primer.
Pre-primer, that's 5-year-old.
I had heard talk about that. I got my report card, got promoted to the first grade.
Okay.
I said, Miss Martin was a teacher, like the old lady with glasses. She ought to been at home staying on. I don't remember her. I'm telling you, look, I said, I was in the first grade, and I got promoted to the first grade, the pre-primer.
I was in the first grade, you weren't there yet.
Okay, so a pre-primer is a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Pre-primer for 5-year-old children.
Okay, 5-year-old children.
I was 6 years old when my school started in August. See, I was in pre-primer. I thought I was in the first grade. When I got promoted to the first grade, like, what? I done went to school the whole year in the, might have really said kindergarten. Pre-primer. Got promoted to the first grade, so that put me a year behind everybody.
No, it didn't put you a year behind.
Yeah, it did. A year behind.
You graduated in 11th grade.
No, he put me a year behind all the guys that my age. Put me a year behind.
What month were you born in? Did they go by month then?
14.
So they didn't go by the December cutoff then?
Oh, no cutoff.
Okay.
School started in August.
Okay, school started in August.
May, June, July, August when school started.
Very good. Okay, so Uncle Spencer, tell us who you are. And he putting his mask on. But you guys are pretty much spaced apart. You don't really have to have them. And we under 10 people.
Tell them
who you are and what year you started at the school.
Well, I don't know what year I started.
Well, you 2 years after him. He said he was in 1946. So then you probably was 1948. You think?
He's so bad. I sure ain't got no eyes. Yeah, it could have been 48 because he was born in 42.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in 42. Yeah.
So probably 48.
I was born
and you started in first grade of pre-primer.
That's probably what it was. Miss Martin, this old lady Martin won't die. The boy can say on the old lady Crump. What is that thing they're doing there? Taking pictures of
I have no idea. Why are you asking me?
What that gonna do?
Okay, the next person, when you introduce yourself and tell us what year you attended the school. Would that be Aunt Annie? Would be next, Uncle Floyd. Very good.
Don't he look older than me?
No.
Yes, he does.
I am Bowman, the 7th chief child of Mathew and Ophelia. And I went to, like again, I'm not 100% sure about the year. I was born in 44, so I probably had to start school in 50 or 51.
Sounds about
And
right.
I must have started in the May the 26th, my birthday. So I must have started even though Miss Bonnie wasn't still there, I must have started in the pre-primary grade, or pre-primary, because I was always, when I graduated, I already turned 19. Most folks were still about 18 when they graduated.
Okay.
So because of this system, I don't know, but I guess it was county-wide, I would think. I may be wrong, but it may be just out in this rural community. Everybody, granddaughter, these stewards, them all went to school down. So you think everybody started in a pre-primary?
Yeah, I think so.
But like I said, I don't know about I didn't start talking to Miss Martin. I don't remember nobody else starting this. Yeah, I did.
Okay. Okay. She got a hand up.
He said he don't know who else. Everybody started in the pre-primer, and they graduated in 11th grade. Your mama always said that she graduated in 11th grade.
Okay.
So you still didn't go to school but 12 years. took a year from me because I started at Springfield.
Okay, so now you can introduce yourself and tell us what year you started.
When I got promoted to the 7th grade and went to Crawfordville, I went into the 7th grade.
That's right, but you still already gone to school 8 years already. But you started at the primer.
I started pre-primer, then I got hold back 1 year.
What you get hold back for?
I didn't get promoted after the 3rd grade.
Oh, Lord. That's another situation.
I was there about 15 years old when I was in the 7th grade.
Oh, Lord. Okay, so much for that.
So you are Annie?
I'm Annie Bowman Terrell, and I started pre-primer also. I don't remember when I started, but I'm thinking I was born in 46. May 46, so I started when I was 6. Okay. Those are my thoughts. And we transferred to Crawfordsville. I'm thinking I went down there 3 years. Primer, 1st, and 2nd. And I went to Crawfordsville when I was in the 3rd grade. That's what my thought, but it could not be exactly. Could have been the 4th grade. I don't know.
Okay.
Don't remember.
So Ophelia and Mathew had other children that attended the school. Robert, who couldn't be here today, Lorraine, John, Wallace, and James Weldon, who are deceased. Did Avon ever attend the school down here? Because Avon would have been...
Went 1 year.
1 year, maybe. Okay.
Would be the same age as George Hunter.
Yeah.
Well, I think so.
He might have went on there 1 year.
Yeah, because Avon's born, what, 1948? 40?
Yeah, I was born in 48.
Okay, so he probably went 1 year. Same.
School moved, I believe it was year 54 to 55.
55. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when it moved. Year 54, 55.
And start busting you into town.
But I quit. I quit going to school in the 7th grade. But they couldn't fuck with it. Biggest mistake they ever made.
Yeah.
Not to get you educated. I don't know nothing. I ain't need to be. I'm not buying a computer now. What am I doing with it?
Okay.
I'm to touch on.
So our first question is, now I've seen 2 diplomas. One diploma had Springfield Skill School. That was Miss Betsy Atkinson. And the other diploma with Calvin Turner, it just said Springfield School. Have any of y'all heard of Springfield Skill School? Was that an after-school program? Or was that the transition from the school building in the churchyard to the other building? Because Miss Atkinson would have attended both schools. Okay, so I just wanted to ask that question and get it out the way. Now, can you share with us, the viewers, a typical day from getting up in the morning here, dressing and walking to school? What would be a typical day like for y'all back in those days, 1948, 49, 50, getting up in the morning? You had a wood stove? Yeah, so a fireplace. Some people had fireplaces.
Well, we had a combination. We had fireplace. All of it was wood now. All of it was fireplace.
So you got up in the morning, you made the fire. Somebody made a fire.
After we got big enough, first thing we get up, go milk the cow.
Ah.
Then come back and go, feed the hog, and then get ready to go to school.
And Mama always got up to cook breakfast.
Yes, sir.
We always had breakfast before we went to school.
What was the typical breakfast?
Some biscuits and fatback meat and some
Butter,
syrup, some buttermilk.
Milk and bread was a lot of them. See, I'm still here.
It was delicious.
Milk and bread don't hurt you.
Okay, so after breakfast, did you get dressed? You was already dressed before you had breakfast. Okay.
Mostly, I don't know about the girl, but we wore what we had on. You wore what you had on to what milk the cow then.
Yeah, you may change your shoes when you from going to milk the cow. Y'all didn't
What those shoes change? You had any shoes you had on.
You had changed your shoes. I don't know about
Those shoes to
Yeah, they
change.
went to school smelling.
smelling that cow.
Well, they all probably smelled the same. Everybody probably doing the same thing.
Them Randolph boys,
Everybody smelled like boo-boo.
them Randolph boys, they had the milk cow and things before they come to school. So they got up earlier than we did, because they had more cow milk. So they were selling milk.
Okay, so once y'all got dressed, you walked down to the driveway. Who else walked with you? Was there anybody who met with y'all?
Them Horace and Doris, them from down there, from California and Prince Edward and them Rudolph and them come up that road. Joe Lewis and Alphonse come across that road, right?
Ooh, they had a
Oh,
long way to walk.
there's a whole crowd of us going down the road.
Really?
Yeah.
And y'all all walk together.
Yeah.
And y'all got along just
That's
fine.
my note
Well,
about
I
that.
guess
Was
we
better.
might not have been together all the time, but you
There
know.
was a little argument coming one evening, me and Alphonse, and it was taking us too long to get on up there, because you could see it already down there. Loretta looked down the road, saw them coming, and we were down there behind that curl a little too long, so she come out to the thing, come walking there. I was so glad to see your mama. I've never been so glad to see my sister come. I was going to get whooped down there in that road. That's when you took my wheel and wire. You rolled it, had this wheel, and had the wire pushing it, roll it on. Throw it over in that big gutter there in front of Calvin. So, I couldn't put up with that. I had to hit that nigga, hit him 2, 3 licks. I know them other cousins, all them cousins were more kin to him than I was. They were going to get me. Yeah, Loretta showed up. Oh, here come the law.
Got the car.
She come stepping on down there. What's going on down here? I myself, nothing there. We come on up that road. It took me about 2 weeks to make up my mind. It was in summertime to go down there and get my wheel and wire off, throw down that gutter. I had to make up my mind. I wanted that wheel and wire.
So the wheel and wire was like a toy.
That was a toy.
Oh, you made your own.
Man-made toy.
Awesome.
You remember the wheel and wire, though?
Yeah, I remember.
You remember you had the little wheel, the thing to come off a wagon hub, you know,
How do you not remember? You
about 8 inches
take a
around, you know, and
Right
about that wire, then you had that wire, push it. And you know, you could,
You gotta get a start.
Yeah, he would push that wire and roll that thing, you roll that thing right along there. That's why I said, man, you can eat anything you want back because you're walking and running. I wanted to roll a truck tire. I started working at the rock pool. I found out then. I didn't want to roll no truck tires. I just roll. All them truck tires, you know, I had to pull them up there to drop the rock down on them.
Yeah.
I got my enough for rolling truck tire after I started working at the rock pool. But
So-
I used to want to roll a truck tire. It was big, you know.
So you guess Alfonso was sick and tired of you rolling the tire. He was jealous or something. Whatever the reason, he threw it in
picking
the...
on me for some reason. We got on a box down there at the stove. And I was more mad with February than I was. And I put it, February with an angel. She could have told him to leave me alone. He kept boxing and hitting me and boxing. She told me, I'll go ahead and box, right? What? I wanted to sit his ass down, you know.
That one wasn't any bigger or older than you, was it?
About the same age. But I was a little bigger and he was a little taller, like. And I said to myself, now I'm going to have to whoop this nigga there. I got to knock on that nigga and hit him, knock hell out of him upside the head. He said I hit him in the eye. He didn't hit
I
him in
remember
the eye.
that going yesterday.
Stop.
You remember?
I remember the roll of that.
That stopped the
I
fight.
remember
That
exactly
stopped the
that.
boxing.
I ain't gonna hit in the eye.
You were there?
I remember that going yesterday.
I just think about that. I said myself, Beverly should have told Alphonse to leave me alone.
Yeah, she should have.
But she didn't. But I didn't have no more trouble after that.
So I wish you could see him now.
Oh, he's still alive now.
Just like Casper David.
Ain't that
Look
something?
just like Casper David. If you walked in that door right now, you might thought it was Casper David.
Yeah.
So what was a typical day in class like? Anybody remember? Or who was your favorite teacher? Or what classes did you have?
Well, you know, I didn't have but one teacher. That was Miss Chapman.
Miss Mabel down the... Not Mabel.
No, Emily Nair.
Emily Nair down the street.
Right, she was my teacher. She was
Awesome.
the only teacher I ever remember having. And our class, we would line up outside and walk down to our classrooms, and it was maybe like 3 tables in there. And my mind tells me that it was each class for that a different class for that each table.
Right.
And that she would work with this table and give you something to do, and then she would work with the next table. That's what I remember. That's most of what I remember about that.
Okay.
Well, she had the first, second, and third grade.
Yeah.
This other one had the third, fourth, and sixth.
Miss Ellington?
Right.
Who was Ellington?
That was, well,
You know,
she
Annie Ellington?
Right.
Oh, really? I didn't know she was down
She
here.
taught
Oh,
down
yeah,
there.
she was
Then,
cheap.
but Mrs. Swain, she got to be like the principal after Mrs. Swain. She was there when Mrs. Swain was there. Swain was there. They're doing clue. Miss Chapman had like the first and second, and Miss Ellison had the third and fourth, and Mr. Swain had the fifth and sixth. But when he left there, then just Miss Ellison and Miss Chapman.
I can see Miss Ellison 46 Chevrolet. Paul got that right now. 46 Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Fleet line.
She started off with a different one. It was like a 39.
Yeah, she was married to Roosevelt, I heard.
Yeah.
Roosevelt. Okay.
Okay.
Very good. So, okay.
Miss Eminem was also my first teacher. At least 2 years, I think. She was my teacher for 2 years. And as Anna said, she had one class in that same room.
Yeah.
Because it was real large.
Yeah,
room. And she would deal with one for a while. I guess we had math, English, reading.
Yeah, we had all the stuff we were supposed to have.
Book to read. Again, we taught how to spell.
Yeah.
Penmanship. Mine didn't work out very well. But we taught penmanship and so forth. And we had to do it. I guess we had maybe learned the alphabet before you went to school. Maybe.
Yeah, but they had, you used to buy a composition book that had the alphabet wrote on it. But then they had some stuff where you had to make them little
Cursive writing.
Cursive, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So you actually had books then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had books.
You had to learn the alphabet and the
Timetable.
You had to learn about
Boy, I don't know them now.
Just not studying the road.
But I had to get them done. I
They
know
call
them.
you had to mix them up. You had to tell them where to leave.
Let me tell y'all something. This ain't got nothing to do with the Springfield. But I had George working problems, and you had to do your timetables. And I asked him, George, what is 7 times 6 and all this stuff? And I called Gail to tell you something. I said, you know what? I forgot my timetable. I went and got a piece of paper to write out my timetable so I could.
You got to
Bless
figure
your
it out.
heart.
I had to well, we got to figure it out.
Okay, so what was lunchtime like? Did y'all have a cafeteria then, or you took your own lunches?
One of the cafeteria we had was up here in this kitchen. That when we got up from school time out at 3.
So school got out at 3 o'clock. So
And
you started school at what
Ready
time?
to eat. Whatever one had set on
But
that
it was
thing.
early.
Well, 8 o'clock, 7 to 3.
When we got, the school took in about 8 o'clock.
Okay.
8:30, no
And-
more than about 8.
And you got out at 3.
Yeah.
But so you took your lunch with you, or you just didn't eat?
We had no lunch. I
We
didn't
did.
care.
We had
We don't
lunch.
go back up here to eat.
You mean y'all had a lunch?
Yeah, come on, pick us
I
up.
don't think we pick it up when y'all was lunch. I ain't had no lunch. I ain't had no lunch.
We take a lunch.
Charlie Maddox children brought a lunch.
Junior Milton bought a lunch.
But
You don't remember taking a lunch?
but them right now, I don't remember them having no
I
lunch.
remember at some point, maybe I was later than the 2 of y'all. I remember us. We could go under the school. We could go under the school.
Going to school.
I remember Ernest Stevens.
Yeah, it was cool under there.
We used to sit around and eat. He used to bring fried sweet potato sandwich. Fried sweet potato
That's
sandwich.
real good.
Ernest Stevens.
Oh, Steve, I know you're talking about.
Yeah. We would take a lunch.
We didn't have no lunch. We didn't have no lunch.
I guess Mama still will buy eat well.
Charlie Miller boy brought lunch. And I can't remember who was coming to bring us lunch.
Barbara Jean.
Mama Jean, I used to swap her candy for her jelly, butter and jelly biscuits. It was the best jelly.
Where you get candy from?
I was working, cutting grass in the heat, so I had a little money to buy candy. I would trade her candy for jelly sandwich.
So, Uncle, where did you buy the candy from?
From the store down there.
Willie Bell no store.
I don't remember a lunch.
Well, Concleo.
Concleo store.
I don't believe we stayed there all that long.
I'm pretty sure she gave that lunch. I just don't remember it.
I don't remember. I ain't never cared lunch.
Yeah, I don't care no more.
Okay, and y'all was giving homework.
Oh, yeah.
Whole lot of time them arithmetic, see, lamp light, see that thing that's showing good light, but a lamp ain't gonna show that much. Then whole lot of time we done that stuff, then we got to the church where I would do my arithmetic. I was supposed to have done that night. I do it that morning before I went down to the school house. Up there way in the daylight.
So at the end of the day, y'all all walk back together.
Yeah.
Were there any extracurricular activity? Basketball, sports,
Yeah,
dancing?
basketball, not that. See, the basketball crowd had come. Because he was higher grade. See, but the governor was there, wasn't no basketball. Only thing was, we used to play baseball at dinner time, and we were sitting out there, we were playing one day, and there was 6 of us guys, and them girls wanted to play. So we decided to let them play. There were about like 10 of them girls on the team, on their side, 6 of us. We were playing, and we were going over that thing. They did take in, but some of them didn't ring the bell because they were playing. Like myself, Severino, Howard, Chancellor Jr., looked like Freddie, Bobby Thomas. Could have been Howard. There were 6 of us. Boy, we were knocking that ball. Them girls, they get put out quick. They got something wrong. But Little Allen was on their team, and I can't think of the other one. Boy, we were playing to Howard Jr. wanted to see the scope. And Mr. Elton slapped him back and hit him, and he got upset. She rung the bell. I sure hate he got upset.
Y'all was having a good time.
So just letting y'all play ball, huh?
Yeah, I know we got it at 11. We get to 11. We was having fun out there playing with me. He got upset. She rung the bell.
Cause she wasn't keeping any score. She was just letting y'all have
She
fun.
was keeping score, but they didn't want to see. We just beat the devil out of them.
Well,
So-
look, as far as at one point, the school was going to the 11th grade.
Yeah, when the radio was going,
So
she finished 11th
at
grade.
some point, I don't have no idea what year, they start taking the higher grades to Crawfordville.
When
And smaller grades
I
was
don't know
lower
what
grades
year
still
it
there.
was Florida either, but when Winborn, they closed down all the other schools but Springfield, Crawfordville. Somehow there was about Springfield being, they let Booker T was driving school up. He put this from the first to the folk from the first to the 6th grade got off the bus at Springfield. Went to Springfield. And the 7th grade on up, they went to Crawford.
So whatever year that was,
I don't know
that's
what
probably
year it was.
what I'm saying, but whatever year that was, that cut out the basketball that they used to have.
Right, because they won't know the big guy on that one. See what happened, the black folk were walking school. That's when they started had to ride the black folk school. That's when they closed down all the other little schools, like one in Level Hill and Winborn, and wherever else. And Sharon too, they closed down them little schools. They had to come Crawfordville. After they built the new school, they built Mathew, the first building. Then when they built the second building, that's when we all went. We all went there. We got built the second building. Like the first to the 2nd grade, I think on the backside. Could have been the 3rd grade. But anyway, this middle part went to the 7th grade, and the other was high school. 8th grade up to 12th.
Because Corey Chapman mentioned that he played basketball. So they stopped basketball after a while.
Yeah.
All right.
He was much older than us. So.
Yeah, he played. See that Calvin Turner played basketball, and I believe Fred, and then Mathew Jr. and D. Stewart and Bobby Stewart. They was on the team. I believe a guy named Beebe. He was on there, Beebe Smith. He was on that team. But D. Stewart was at the center line. They did 2 points. They wouldn't call him 3 then. He could make 2 points from the center line. They were,
And they were playing outside on the dirt. That's
that was Miss Bonner's brother-in-law, D. Stewart.
Oh,
Tom Stewart brother.
oh, so he
Bobby
can't.
married
Okay.
teen, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember.
awesome. So what was the auditorium used for?
We had plays. Every year we had a play. And we had different stuff in the auditorium. We had the devotion. The devotion in the morning time was in the auditorium. We all went in there for a song and a prayer, said a long prayer.
And y'all just said it together. You didn't have a leader or something.
Right.
All right. And for the play, who did the play? Who was in charge of it?
Well, like Miss Ellison would give a play. See, the last play I remember, like Sylvester Randolph had the lead part, but somehow or another he was thick-headed, blockheaded, whatever you want to call it, and he couldn't get it. But see, I had a part in there, but see, I was standing there, cause we all everybody, the thing, everybody had the part, but all of us on the same paper. I was telling him his line, you know, and see, Miss Ellison caught that.
She called.
And after she said I was telling her, so she gave me the lead part. And the good part about that night when we had that thing, they had lemonade, real lemonade and real coconut bar cookies.
What they good? That's all I know about it.
Yeah.
And cookies.
See, Jerry Turner, he played the shab. I don't know what to do with the shab.
Them kind of plays is good.
But the folk, I can play for a fact. The folk from all the folk parents come, all the children parents were there. They were there. Well, we had like a magic show one night. The man got me up on the stage. He said, what do you have for supper? I told him, you had some rice? You had rice? No, I had no rice. He said, all right, he put that pipe to my stomach. He said, hold my arm up like that. You drunk. Rice jumped out that pipe like, hey, I don't know how he done that. He had rice in that pipe. Rice come out on the floor.
All right.
But he made some bad, the money he
There was
won.
nothing in the back when we looked at it, nothing.
Nothing in there.
Where that rice come?
I don't know.
He was a hard
One
enough.
had his hanging somewhere in gold I brought that. It looked like it come out of that pipe. He had some paper, he burned it, put that polka dot villager. He never get nobody in one of them dollar bills he wanted to make. But he made apple. Got apple out of hat and thrown around. It was real apple.
All right.
And one Eddie Richardson, they got him up there. Look at him, you've been fooling around in your sister's drawers, looking in the drawers, fooling your sister underclothes. He done something else. Underwear. I don't know where that man, where had that at. He like that boy had some of his sister underwear in his pocket.
That particular play new to me.
Was the man black? The magician was black.
Somehow or another had a pack